They betrayed you. And now life has done something unexpected. The cheater got cheated on. And suddenly, you're the one they can't stop thinking about. The shock in their heart, confusion in their mind, and a deep realization settling in that they lost someone real. If you've been feeling a strange pull lately, like someone from your past is thinking about you intensely, this reading may not be a coincidence at all. Welcome to this timeless reading. That means whenever you find this message, it's meant for you in that exact moment. Time doesn't matter here. Energy does. And right now, the energy feels heavy, emotional, and full of karmic truth. As Sophia, I want you to take a breath and gently open your heart, because something important wants to be revealed. Before we go deeper, remember this. Only take what resonates with you. If something doesn't feel right, let it pass. This message is meant to flow, not to force. But if your chest tightens, if your emotions shift, or if you quietly whisper, wow, that's your sign. 3 cards have stepped forward very clearly for this reading. The 7 of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 5 of Cups. Just hearing these names already carries a strong story, secrets, karma turning, and deep regret. It feels like someone who once walked away without care is now standing in the exact pain they caused. There's a sense of reversal here. What they thought would never happen, happened. And now they're looking back, wondering if it's too late. This reading isn't about revenge. It's about truth, realization, and the moment karma speaks softly but powerfully. Stay with me, because as I begin to unfold what these cards are revealing, you'll understand why this situation had to happen exactly this way. When the 7 of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 5 of Cups appear together for this topic, they tell one continuous story, not just of betrayal, but of awakening karma and emotional reckoning. This is not a random sequence of events. This is a journey the soul had to take. Even if it was painful, it begins with the 7 of Swords. This is where the choice was made. This is the energy of secrecy, lies, and believing you can escape consequences. This person didn't just hurt you. They betrayed trust. They moved in silence, thinking they were clever, thinking they were winning something. At that stage, they were disconnected from their own emotions. They didn't fully understand what they were risking, because they believed you would always be there, or that losing you wouldn't hurt that much. This card shows emotional immaturity, avoidance, and running from accountability. Then the Wheel of Fortune steps in, and everything changes. This is the moment life intervenes. The universe says, now it's your turn to feel. The cheating they experienced was not just coincidence. It was karmic timing. The wheel turned without warning. Suddenly, they were no longer the one with power. They were no longer protected. They were placed in the exact position they once put you in. Confused, betrayed, questioning their worth, questioning reality. What's important here is that the Wheel of Fortune doesn't act out of revenge. It acts out of balance. It restores fairness. It shows that actions have echoes, and those echoes always return. While they were falling into this lesson, you were being lifted out of the chaos. You were guided away from someone who couldn't meet you at your level of honesty, even if it hurt at the time. It redirected your life. And then comes the 5 of Cups, the emotional aftermath. This is where the lesson finally sinks in. This card shows deep regret, grief, and mourning what has been lost. Not just losing you physically, but losing the version of life they could have had. They now see clearly. They understand the cost of their choices. The excitement is gone. The thrill is gone. All that remains is the quiet pain of knowing they threw away something real. Together, these 3 cards show a complete transformation. Deception leads to karma. Karma leads to awareness. Awareness leads to regret. This person is not in the same place emotionally anymore. They are humbled. They are reflective. And yes, they want you back, but not from the same energy as before. This desire comes from loss, not entitlement. At the same time, these cards speak strongly about you. You're not the same person you were when the betrayal happened. The 7 of Swords confirms you were honest and genuine. The Wheel of Fortune shows you were protected and redirected. The 5 of Cups shows you learned how to release pain without losing your heart. You didn't break, you evolved. There's also an important truth here. Regret does not guarantee reconciliation. These cards do not promise reunion. They show truth. They show realization. They show emotional consequence. Whether this person comes back into your life or remains a lesson depends on how much has truly changed, not just how sorry they feel. Emotionally, the power dynamic has shifted completely. You are no longer waiting for answers. They are. You are no longer seeking validation. They are. You're standing in clarity, while they're standing in reflection. And that reversal is not accidental. It's karmic justice. These cards together also bring closure. Not closure through conversation, but closure through understanding. You now know why things happened the way they did. You know it wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because they weren't ready to be honest, loyal, or emotionally present. In the end, this combined message is about growth on both sides. But growth doesn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it means release. Sometimes it means forgiveness from a distance. Sometimes it means choosing yourself without bitterness. The cheater got cheated on. The lesson was learned. The truth was revealed. And now, the universe has placed the choice gently back into your hands, not from pain, but from strength. The Five of Cups comes forward carrying deep sadness, regret, and emotional loss. This card speaks about mourning what has already been spilled, about realizing too late the value of something that was once within reach. In the context of this topic, it shows the emotional aftermath of cheating, not the moment of betrayal, but the quiet pain that follows when reality finally sinks in. This person is now standing in their emotions. There's no distraction left, no excitement, no illusion. The Five of Cups shows someone looking down at what they've lost, replaying moments in their mind, wishing they could go back and choose differently. The cheating may have felt thrilling in the moment, but now all they feel is emptiness. The connection they thought was replaceable has left a void they don't know how to fill. There is heavy regret here, not just regret for being cheated on themselves, but regret for how they treated you. They now understand that loyalty is rare, that real love is quiet, steady, and safe, not dramatic or secretive. The Five of Cups reveals that they are emotionally grieving you. Even if you are still alive, still present somewhere in the world, to them, it feels like a loss that can't be undone. This card also shows isolation. They feel alone in this. Even if people surround them, they don't feel understood. They can't openly talk about their pain without facing their own guilt, and that makes the sadness heavier. They are forced to sit with the truth of their actions, without excuses, without blame, without escape. What's powerful about the Five of Cups is that it doesn't just show pain. It shows awareness. They are finally seeing clearly. They recognize the moments you stood by them, the ways you showed up, the love you gave without conditions. And now, those memories hurt more than the betrayal ever hurt you. Because now they know what it feels like to lose someone who truly cared. This card also explains why they want you back. It's not just loneliness. It's grief. It's the realization that they let something meaningful slip through their hands. They're not chasing excitement anymore. They are craving emotional safety, forgiveness, and comfort. And you represent all of that in their mind. For you, the Five of Cups carries a different message. It reminds you that their sadness does not automatically mean reconciliation. Regret does not erase the past. This card asks you to be gentle with yourself. You're not responsible for fixing their pain. You already carried enough when the betrayal happened. There's also a quiet empowerment here. While they are focused on what they lost, you are learning to see what remains. Your self-respect, your strength, your ability to love deeply without losing yourself. The Five of Cups shows two cups still standing in the background, and that symbolizes new emotional possibilities for you, whether with them or with someone new. Emotionally, this card shows that closure is possible, whether they come back or not. The truth is already out. The illusion is gone. You no longer have to wonder if you were enough. Their regret answers that question clearly. The Five of Cups ends with a soft but important reminder. Grief is part of growth. They had to feel this loss to understand its value. And you had to walk away from pain to step into clarity. Whatever happens next will be built on truth, not fantasy, not betrayal, not silence. This card confirms that the emotional weight has shifted. You're no longer carrying it alone. And that, in itself, is healing. The Wheel of Fortune appears at a powerful moment in this situation, and its message is very clear. Things have shifted, and there is no going back to how they were. This card speaks about karma, divine timing, and events that happen not because we plan them, but because they are meant to happen. In this topic, it shows that what unfolded between you and this person was part of a bigger cycle, one that had to turn so everyone involved could learn the truth. When this person cheated, they believed they were moving forward. They thought they were choosing excitement, freedom, or something better. But the Wheel of Fortune shows that while they thought they were rising, they were actually being positioned for a fall, not as punishment, but as a lesson. Life allowed them to experience the same pain they once caused so they could finally understand it from the inside. This card reveals something important. The moment they were cheated on was not random. It was timed. It happened when they were emotionally open. when they least expected betrayal, and when they believed they were safe. And that's exactly why it hit so deeply. The wheel turned, and suddenly, they were no longer in control. They were no longer protected from consequences. There's a strong sense of shock around them. One day, everything felt fine. The next, their world cracked open. The Wheel of Fortune brings sudden realizations, moments where the truth drops all at once. They now see patterns they ignored before. They recognize how they treated you. They see how loyalty was offered to them freely, and how easily they dismissed it. For you, this card brings validation. It tells you that nothing was wasted. Not your love, not your patience, not your tears. Everything you went through pushed you onto a different path, a higher one. While they were repeating cycles, you were breaking them. And that's why the wheel lifted you instead of breaking you. This card also shows that timing is no longer in their favor. They may want you back now, but the wheel doesn't turn backward. It only moves forward. If they return, it will be under completely different conditions. You're not standing in the same place anymore. You've grown wiser, stronger, and more aware of your worth. Emotionally, the Wheel of Fortune brings humility to them. They can no longer blame luck or other people. Deep down, they know this was their doing, and that realization is heavy. It sits with them. It follows them. They understand now that karma isn't cruel. It's fair. It simply reflects our choices back to us. There's also an energy of fate here. Some connections come into our lives to stay, and some come to teach. This person is now questioning which role they played in your life. Were they meant to be a lesson? Or is there still unfinished business? The wheel doesn't answer that directly. It simply shows that the universe is still involved. For you, this card asks for trust. Trust the timing of your life. Trust that if someone comes back, it's because something has changed, not because you're meant to settle for less. And if they don't, it's because the wheel has already carried you somewhere better. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that when the universe steps in, it does so to restore balance. And right now, balance has been restored. The past has caught up with them, and your future is quietly opening in front of you. The Seven of Swords comes forward with a very clear and uncomfortable truth in this situation. This card speaks directly about cheating, lies, secrets, and doing things behind someone's back. In the context of this topic, it shows that this person didn't just make a mistake. They made a choice to be dishonest, a choice to hide things, a choice to believe they could get away with it without ever facing the emotional cost. This person thought they were being smart. They thought they were in control. They believed they could live a double life, say one thing, do another, and never be caught emotionally or spiritually. The Seven of Swords shows someone sneaking away, looking over their shoulder, always worried about being exposed. And that's exactly the energy they were living in when they betrayed you. Even when they smiled, there was guilt underneath. Even when they acted confident, there was fear inside. What's important here is that this card also shows self-deception. Not just lying to you, but lying to themselves. They told themselves stories like, "This doesn't matter," or "I won't lose anything," or "I can always come back." They underestimated your value. They underestimated your presence. And most of all, they underestimated karma. Now here's where the energy shifts. The Seven of Swords also talks about getting a taste of your own medicine. The same sneaky behavior, the same betrayal, the same shot. It came back around when they were cheated on. It hit deeper than they expected, because suddenly they were standing in your shoes. Suddenly, they felt the confusion, the anger, the heartbreak, and that moment changed something inside them. This card shows regret that isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the kind of regret that hits late at night, when there's no distraction. They replay memories of you. They remember your loyalty. They remember how safe they felt, even if they didn't appreciate it at the time. The Seven of Swords reveals that they now understand exactly what they lost, not because you explained it, but because life showed them. There's also an energy of shame here. They don't feel proud of what they did. In fact, they're embarrassed. They know if they come back, they can't pretend anymore. They can't hide. This card shows someone who is afraid of being seen for who they really were in the past. And that fear is part of why they're hesitating, watching from a distance, thinking about you but not knowing how to approach you. For you, this card brings clarity. It tells you that what happened was never about your worth. It was about their lack of honesty and emotional maturity. You didn't miss signs because you were naive. You trusted because your heart was genuine. The Seven of Swords confirms that your intuition was right all along. Every gut feeling you had, valid. This card also reminds you to stay aware. If they do come back, it's important to listen more to actions than words. The Seven of Swords doesn't judge, but it does warn. It asks you to protect your energy, your peace, and your boundaries. You've grown since then. You're not the same person who was hurt, and this time, you see clearly. Emotionally, this card shows that the power has shifted. You're no longer chasing answers. They are. You're no longer confused. They are. And that reversal is not accidental, it's karmic balance. The Seven of Swords closes by reminding you that truth always finds its way out. And when it does, it changes everything. This was the lesson they had to learn the hard way, and you were never meant to carry their dishonesty forever.